Rule 7C, any requests for recorded votes may be postponed. I now recognize myself for an opening statement. Morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd like to begin by saying how honored I am to serve as chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security. Before we begin, I would like to address the horrific targeted shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in Minnesota. My prayers are with the people of Minneapolis, the Annunciation Parish community, the grieving families, and all those injured in this unacceptable act of violence at a house of worship. With that, I ask that you all please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd also like to point out, and if you had not heard, our colleague on this committee, Mr. Swalwell, his mother unexpectedly passed, so he will not be with us today. So if you can reach out to him and offer your condolences, that would be great. He's a very active member of this committee. When I was chair of the cyber committee, was a great member to work with. As a lifelong New Yorker who represents a district forever marked by the September 11th attacks, my tenure as chairman and our path forward for this committee will be guided by the phrase, never forget. Securing the homeland is an American imperative. I hope for productive partnership where possible. Every member of this committee has shared a mission that the American people are counting on us to succeed in, and that is strengthening our homeland security for generations to come. This vital partnership continues with our markup today. We will consider and hopefully advance 7 pieces of legislation, all which have bipartisan support. My bill, the Widespread Information Management for the Welfare and Infrastructure and Governments Act, or the WIMWIG, reauthorizes a vital tool for our nation's collective cyber defense, the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015. Over the last decade, the law has provided a framework for voluntary information sharing across the public and private sectors and between private sector entities regarding cyber threats facing our networks. Reauthorizing this law and ensuring the relevance of this framework before it expires is essential for maintaining our cyber resilience. The Protecting Information by Local Leaders for Agency Resilience Act, or PILLAR Act, introduced by Congressman Ogles, reauthorizes the state and local cybersecurity grant program. This program invests in our future of our communities by helping state, local, and tribal and territorial governments build their cyber defenses. To strengthen DHS's core counterterrorism mission amid evolving threats, We will consider legislation introduced by Chairman Pfluger of the Counterterrorism Intelligence Subcommittee. The Generative AI Terrorism Risk Assessment Act works to examine how foreign terrorist groups could weaponize artificial intelligence to recruit and radicalize individuals, both on U.S. soil and globally. The act of evil committed at Annunciation Catholic School last week is another stark reminder of the threats facing the most vulnerable in our communities. That's why Congressman Gonzalez's National Strategy for School Security Act aims to create a whole-of-government effort to help America's school districts develop and improve emergency plans to keep our kids safe. Information sharing between DHS components is key to enhancing public safety efforts and the mission of the department as a whole. Rep. McKenzie's DHS Intelligence Rotational Assignment Program and Law Enforcement Support Act would require DHS personnel in the Office of Intelligence and Analysis to participate in a program that increases collaboration across the intelligence community. As part of the committee's oversight efforts, Resident Commissioner Hernandez's Strengthening Oversight of DHS Intelligence Act will help improve how DHS handles intelligence to better protect privacy and civil liberties. Defending our nation's critical infrastructure is essential to safeguarding our way of life. The Pipeline Security Act, introduced by Rep. Johnson, will codify the Transportation Security Administration's role in protecting pipelines from terrorist or cybersecurity threats. I support every bill under consideration in today's markup, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you again for joining me today. I look forward to getting started. I now recognize the ranking member, Benny Thompson from Mississippi, to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to begin by congratulating you on your local chairmanship and thanking you for your initial outreach to me as ranking member. I also want to express my condolences to Mr. Swalwell for the loss of his mother. He indicated in my conversation that other than that, he had been looking forward to being at the markup. As I said when we spoke, Democrats will work with you where we can, and where we disagree, we will try to do so without being disagreeable. But when we will never stop fighting for our fundamental values and the people who sent us here to represent them. I appreciate your stated commitment to bipartisanship and look forward to seeing that commitment in action going forward. Today's markup is a commendable start. For example, I'm pleased that the committee is considering H.R. 2261, the Strengthening Oversight of DHS Intelligence Act, authored by Representative Hernandez of Puerto Rico. The bill would ensure that the information and intelligence distributed by DHS to protect communities does not infringe upon Americans' constitutional rights. The bill was reported favorably out of the Counterterrorism and Intelligence Subcommittee in March. I look forward to a similar outcome before the full committee today. Thank you, Rep. Hernandez, for your leadership on this important issue. I'm also pleased the committee is considering the Pipeline Security Act offered by Representative Johnson of Texas. The bill would codify TSA's longstanding role as a primary federal agency with oversight of pipeline security. The 2021 Colonial Pipeline cyber attack highlighted the importance of strengthening TSA's statutory authority on pipeline security. I commend Representative Johnson for her efforts on this bill. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased that you are committed to extending the authorities provided by the Cyber Information Sharing Act of 2015, commonly referred to as CISA 2015. I've long been committed to ensuring these fundamental authorities do not lapse. Having said that, I'm concerned that the process used to vet changes to this legislation was cut short unnecessarily. Given the critical nature of CISA's 2015 authorities, committee Democrats advocated for a clean extension to allow stakeholders a more fulsome review of proposed edits to the legislation. I still believe that would be the best approach, but appreciate the edits you agreed to in the hours before the markup to address several concerns from stakeholders. More improvements will be necessary as the legislative process moves forward, and I'm glad to have your commitment to working with us on those changes. And obviously, we'll do our best to hold you to it. Again, Mr. Chairman, congratulations on your chairmanship. I look forward to working with you in your new role today and for the rest of Congress.
Gentleman yields back. Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 5079, the Widespread Information Management for the Welfare of Infrastructure and Government Act. The bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. The clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 50C79, offered by Chairman Garbarino.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with and is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I now recognize myself for the purpose of offering an amendment in the nature as a substitute. Clerk will report the amendment in the nature of the substitute.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 50C.
Without objection, the reading is dispensed with, and the amendment in the nature of the substitute shall be considered base text for the purpose of further amendment. I recognize myself to speak on the amendment. The Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015 changed the cybersecurity landscape forever and for the better. This vital authority created a privacy-protecting framework for real-time cyber threat information sharing. Indeed, the protections CISA 2015 provides to the private sector have encouraged proactive information sharing to get ahead of cyber threats. It also improved the collaboration of our public and private sectors, leading to a more comprehensive threat picture. As a bedrock of cybersecurity ecosystem, a lapse in CISA 2015 would significantly slow down or even halt the information sharing of our cyber defenders that they depend on. We cannot let this happen, which is something we heard Secretary Noem talk about last time she was in front of this committee. That's why we are kicking off our first markup with this bill, the Widespread Information Management of the Welfare of Infrastructure and Government Act, WIMWIG, the reauthorization bill for CISA 2015, which was co-sponsored by Representative McCall. Representative McCall, I want to thank you personally for your leadership on this bill 10 years ago and for your continued commitment to improving our nation's cybersecurity posture. I would also like to thank Brian Bonacci, Chief of Staff for CISA, as well as DHS's Legislative Affairs team for attending today's hearing. We appreciate the continued support DHS and CISA, the agency, have provided for this reauthorization, beginning with Secretary Noem's statement in support earlier this year. We look forward to working with you and other agencies in the Trump administration to get this reauthorization to the finish line. Finally, I would like to thank the more than 20 stakeholders who have offered statements of support for this bill so far. I'd like to submit them all for the record. Your partnership among the countless others who helped us produce this bill is imperative to our success. We recognize that today is only the first step. We are committed to working with our colleagues in the House and in the Senate to ensure the reauthorization remains relevant and effective for the next 10 years. The WIMWIG Act captures an array of industry feedback that we have heard all over the course of this bill. It changes the name CISA 2015 to WIMWIG to ensure there is no confusion between CISA the agency and this bill. Updates definitions to capture new tactics and attack surfaces. It encourages the use of secure artificial intelligence to share information and improve technical capabilities. It improves actionable bidirectional information sharing between the public and private sector. It improves accountability for DHS's technical capability required by CISA 2015, and it extends the authorization for 10 more years. Importantly, it preserves existing privacy protections. America faces a rapidly evolving cyber threat landscape with nation-state actors and criminals growing increasingly sophisticated by the day. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on the WIMWIG Act to sustain the trust built among the cybersecurity ecosystem and to strengthen our cybersecurity posture. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment? The names. A gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I mentioned in my opening statement, I appreciate your commitment to extending the important authorities provided by the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015. Like you, I'm committed to ensuring that CISA 2015 does not lapse. I've made that clear in every public statement I've made on the subject all year. While I appreciate the committee is taking an important step forward in the reauthorization process with today's markup. I'd be remiss if I did not put on the record my concerns with the process and my expectations about how this and future bills will be worked moving forward. We have known for 10 years that CISA 2015 would expire on September 30th. Unfortunately, the committee did not begin the reauthorization process in earnest until this summer. Moreover, the truncated vetting process limited the opportunity to solicit feedback from a broad range of stakeholders. Indeed, the text of what we are considering today was made public for the first time only 48 hours ago. As a result, members may not have the benefit of the full complement of expertise a robust vetting process yields. That runs counter to how the committee has historically navigated cyber policy through the legislative process. Over time, the committee has built a strong reputation for working closely with a wide range of stakeholders. We do that to ensure the policy we draft has the impact we intend and that we have the opportunity to understand and address concerns raised. I hope you can commit to returning to a more thorough process in the future, including on efforts to continue moving the CISA 2015 reauthorization through the legislative process. I've made clear on multiple occasions that I believe a clean 10-year extension is the most expeditious path forward and will provide the government's private sector partners the certainty they need to continue partnering with the government. Having said that, getting CISA 2015 across the finish line is up to you, Mr. Chairman, and in a show of good faith to work collaboratively with you on shared priorities and reaffirm my commitment to extending CISA's 2015, I will support the measure before us today. It's my expectations that we will engage a much broader range of stakeholders on this language as the bill progresses, including the ranking members of the other committees of jurisdiction. We must also continue to seek input from experts on privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties to ensure that there are no unintended consequences to the changes proposed by the bill. I will support moving this bill forward in the legislative process today, provided the committee adopts your amendment to the ANS, making certain edits. I will also continue to consult members and stakeholders before making any decisions about supporting the enactment of the legislative provisions before us today. Mr. Chairman, I look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure that CISA 2015 authorities do not lapse. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment in this nature substitute?
Mr. Chairman,
Gentleman recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
let me first of all congratulate you on your new position as chairman of the full committee, and thank you for the work you did chairing the cybersecurity subcommittee. I've always considered this to be one of the important issues we face as a nation, and I think it's fitting, and I want to thank you for kicking off your first markup with this very bill. Cybersecurity has always been a bipartisan effort. The ranking member and I worked on the 2015 version. I worked with Secretary Jay Johnson to ensure its authorization into law. At the time, I guess many recalls, but maybe not too many others weren't around. We had quite a battle between this committee and the House Intelligence Committee because they wanted the role of CISA to be played under the National Security Agency. There are all sorts of privacy issues that came up with that. The Snowden case came out. We thought it was fitting to have a civilian agency as the lead agency for sharing information to the private sector. And I do think the test of time has shown that that was the correct decision. We had to enhance its capabilities, but I do think the CISA of today is far better than the CISA passed in 2015. They had some growing pains, but thanks to the good work of you, sir, and others on this committee, I think its capabilities have been really a very important part of our defense of our homeland and this nation from a cyber threat that is ever growing and ever threatening. And so again, thanks for bringing this measure forward, and I'm glad you started out this markup with this bill.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment of nature substitute? Gentlelady from South Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be brief. I appreciate your messaging on the side and being able to talk to me about my concerns. But the one thing I do want to ask is that will you please commit to working with Senator Paul and the Senate to include explicit anti-censorship language to prevent CISA from being used to moderate political speech?
As I explained to the gentlelady, gentlelady yields, or as I explained to the gentlelady, I did speak with the senator last night, and he did discuss a piece of legislation that he has that affects CISA, the agency, and he and I are going to continue to discuss that and work on work with CISA, especially once Mr. Planky is confirmed as director, to make sure that the agency is focused on what it's supposed to be doing. And we had a very good call, and Senator knows we're marking this bill up today. Again, this is separate from the agency. This is specifically for information sharing. That's why we're changing the name, because there was a big confusion that that we could actually change things in CISA as part of this. It's not germane to this bill, but yes, you have, as I told you on the side, I will be working with the chairman, as I have to on a lot of things in the Senate. We are here for lawmaking exercises. We are not just here to pass bills and have them die in the Senate. And I'm sure the Senate doesn't want to pass bills and have them die here. We're here to make things better. I'm going to work with the ranking member here, and I'm going to work with Senator Paul over in the Senate to make sure that what we pass, we can do it together in these and we can get it on the president's desk for him to sign. So you do have my word on that, Ms. Biggs. I yield. All right. Does the lady yield back? Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment of nature substitute? I now recognize the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Crane, 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request to enter into the record a report from the Judiciary Committee titled "The Weaponization of CISA, How a Cybersecurity Agency Colluded with Big Tech and Disinformation Partners to Censor Americans." I basically have the exact same concern as Mrs. Biggs, and I just want to go on the record stating that I understand that cybersecurity is very important. I think all of us agree upon that, but I'm very concerned about CISA's past behavior to censor Americans' free speech. And so I just wanted the same commitment from you that you would work with Senator Paul and this committee to make sure that since CISA is staying focused on what they're supposed to be focused on.
Without objection, is entered. And would you like me to respond?
Yep.
Gentleman yields. I'll just say, again, everything I just said I will stand by, but I'm really looking forward to working with the new director of CISA as well. I think everybody is going to appreciate having Mr. Planky in there. I definitely think he's the right man to lead that job. And I think he has bipartisan support. I know he did, and I know the previous directors are supportive of him, because I think he's going to be able to lead that agency to focus on the job that it was supposed to be doing, which is protecting critical infrastructure and cybersecurity.
Thank you.
So I yield back, and gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment of the nature of substitute? Okay, there are no amendments on the roster. It is now in order to consider amendments at the desk. I recognize myself for an amendment at the desk. Amendment 47 to the amendment in the nature of the substitute to HR 5079. Clerk will distribute the amendment. The clerk will report the amendment.
An amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R.
Without objection, the reading is dispensed with. I recognize myself for 5 minutes to speak on the amendment. We accepted a few last pieces of feedback to make technical clarifications to this bill and to enhance privacy protections. On privacy, on privacy, the updated text ensures AI deployment ensures AI deployment aligns with privacy and civil liberties guidelines developed under the bill, and ensures CTIs and DMs related to AI are captured. We did actually receive a lot of privacy requests on this, and we have made the changes to make sure the privacy protections are strong, if not stronger, than the original bill. That is something that a lot of people spoke to us about, and we listened. Broader stakeholder feedback edits include removing the sector risk management agency language, which will instead clarify in bill report language, and ensuring AI tools are not accidentally limited by putting restrictions on how they are developed. I want to again thank the ranking member for working with me on this critical reauthorization. Does anyone else wish to speak on the amendment? There's no further debate. The question is on agreeing to the amendment, the nature of the substitute, H.R. 5079, offered by myself. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of, and I request a roll call vote. Voice vote, yep. No, we have to do roll call. On the roll, okay, sorry. Sorry, we'll just voice vote on this. Are there any amendments to the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Hearing none, the question is on agreeing to the amendment in the nature of a substitute as amended, offered by myself. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment in the nature of the substitute as amended is agreed to. One more time. All right. The question now occurs on the reporting the bill H.R. 5079 as amended. It's the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. The clerk will now call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Aye. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Aye. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger votes aye. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Mr. Knott votes aye. Ranking Member Thompson.
Aye.
Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa.
Aye.
Mr. Correa votes aye. Mr. Tanadar. Aye. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner. Mr. Goldman. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver.
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe. Ms. Poe votes aye. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green.
Clerk, how am I recorded?
The chairman is not recorded.
Chair votes aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye. Mr. Goldman is not recorded.
Vote aye.
Mr. Goldman votes aye.
Is there anyone who is not recorded that wishes to be? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 25 ayes and 0 nays.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to notice, I now call upon H.R. 5078, the Protecting Information by Local Leaders for Agency Resilient Act. The bill was circulated in advance, and printed copies are available. The clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 5079 7-9, offered by
Without
Mr.
objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. Gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Ogles, is recognized for 5 minutes on his measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In an increasingly digital world, cybersecurity is just not a federal concern. It is a pressing issue at the state and local levels, where critical services and sensitive data are most vulnerable. As county executive in Tennessee, I saw firsthand the critical need to secure vulnerable information technology, IT, and operational technology systems, OT. And Mr. Chairman, in our hearing, there was testimony that roughly 98% of municipalities operate at below the cyber poverty line, meaning that they don't have the budget or don't spend enough monies to protect their cybersecurity. Our state and local governments not only need to guard against cyber criminals, but against nation-state actors who will target our critical networks, especially in small and rural communities. That's why I'm proud to introduce the Pillar Act, which reauthorizes the state and local cybersecurity grant program at DHS. This program provides federal resources to our frontline entities responsible for protecting essential public services. It also gives our local governments the certainty that they need to plan ahead. State and local governments handle everything from residents' personal data to the controls of our power, water, and emergency services. Many, especially smaller or rural communities, lack the staff and technology to defend against cyber attacks, making them prime targets for ransomware and data breaches and service disrupting attacks. My county and others in Tennessee face attacks by cyber criminals. In some counties, the effects were costly. Other communities, such as St. Paul, Minnesota, and state of Nevada, have experienced worse: the paralysis of emergency response systems, the compromise of public records, and millions in recovery costs. Many local governments have a long way to go to be prepared for coordinated attacks by adversaries like the Chinese Communist Party. President Trump's March executive order entitled Achieving Efficiency Through State and Local Preparedness underscored the importance of the federal government empowering our communities to better prepare for cyber attacks. The Pillar Act gives them the initial resources they need. The Pillar Act authorizes the cyber grant for 10 years, stabilizes the cost share at 60% for single entities or 70% for multi-entity groups, incentivizes implementation of multi-factor authentication across state and local critical infrastructure, highlights the importance of securing systems that include OT and artificial intelligence, encourages direct outreach not only to rural communities, but to other small communities that may lack resources. It requires states to take responsibility for the funding of these protections long-term. I usually want Washington to do less, but it must be ours to not leave our local communities and governments exposed. The question is whether we help state and local authorities prepare now or wait until catastrophic forces, heavier-handed federal action is required in the future. Supporting the Pillar Act is a matter of national security and investment in the safety of our essential services and digital infrastructure. As threats evolve, we cannot afford to leave any local government unprepared. This bill makes clear every community, big or small, needs the tools to defend itself. I urge the support of the Pillar Act. When our local governments are secure, our nation is stronger. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the bill?
Mr. Chairman.
Ranking member is recognized.
Thank you very much. 4 years ago, bipartisan members of this committee, led by Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, established the state and local cybersecurity grant program as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law because we recognize that securing publicly owned critical infrastructure must be a national security priority. The federal government could not leave state and local governments to fend for themselves against sophisticated state actors or transnational criminal gangs who are launching ransomware attacks that devastated state and local budgets and interrupted vital government services. The $1 billion Congress provided the program has strengthened our national security. Testimony before the Cybersecurity Subcommittee earlier this year demonstrated how the funding has resulted in tangible examples of cyber attacks prevented by the grants. State and local stakeholders and the private sector have consistently praised the program for its security impacts and highlighted how its governance provisions have facilitated strategic collaboration between state and local governments. Unfortunately, if Congress does not act, Funding for these grants will soon run dry, and the progress we've made so far will halt, even as the threats facing state and local governments continue to increase. With China pre-positioning on critical infrastructure networks in advance of a potential conflict, we must act now to secure publicly owned critical infrastructure. State and local governments own and operate utilities, hospital, transportation networks, and other critical infrastructure that are vulnerable to disruptive attacks. Reauthorizing the state and local cybersecurity grant program will help us better defend our homeland from these threats. I'm glad this legislation will extend the program for 10 years and provide a consistent cost share arrangement with states. In particular, I appreciate the bill's provision to improve engagement with small, under-resourced governments. Of course, this markup is just the first step to extending this important grant program. As the bill continues to progress through the House and Senate, we will continue to work with stakeholders to make additional refinements. I look forward to working with my colleagues to get this bill enacted into law, and most importantly, convincing our colleagues on the Appropriation Committee to provide the funding necessary to implement it. I'd like to thank Ranking Member Swalwell for co-sponsoring this bill, as well as Representative Ogles for his leadership on this effort. I'd also like to thank Chairman Garbarino for his steadfast support of the state and local cybersecurity grant program throughout his tenure in Congress. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5078 and yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone wish to speak on the bill? I'll just recognize myself. I want to thank Congressman Ogles for leading on this. He's been a great member, an active member of the subcommittee. And as someone who came from the local government sector, you know the importance of these. And this grant program has helped us become safer, especially our critical infrastructure. Everyone who has used it has said so. And China and Russia are waiting. They are hoping that this lapses because they are looking for vulnerabilities. They attack us every day, and they are looking for vulnerabilities. And that's why I appreciate the gentleman taking the lead on this. And would the gentleman like to? And I'd like to yield to the gentleman quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I just want to echo the ranking member that, these grants, obviously, you might have domestic attacks, but a lot of these, or most of these attacks, are emanating from bad actors, state actors, nefarious actors who have billions of dollars at their disposal to attack our critical infrastructure. And like my colleague, Mr. Crane and Ms. Biggs, I have concerns as we go forward of keeping CISA accountable and the privacy concerns. But as we move forward and understanding that China attacks us every single day, these state and local grants are critical because that's where they're attacking. If they can take down a water system or electrical grid or a hospital in rural America, they'll do that, and they'll do it over and over again. So it's important that we empower these small communities like the one I came from, the one that was attacked, that we had put in, we had implemented stopgaps so that we could reboot our system and we would not have gaps. But you look at St. Paul, you look at some of these other communities that did not do that, and they were out for days and millions of dollars on the back end. So it's critical, Mr. Chairman. Again, I thank everyone who was involved in this, but as someone who's lived it, who prepared for it, and it worked, I think we've got to move this forward. I yield back.
Gentleman is back. I yield back. Are there any amendments to the bill? Hearing none, the question is on reporting bill H.R. 5078 to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger votes aye. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes no. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs? Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans? Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie? Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott? Ranking Member Thompson? Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell? Mr. Correa? Mr. Tanadar? Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner? Mr. Goldman? Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez? Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver?
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson? Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez? Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe? Mr. Carter? Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green?
How's the chair recorded?
The chair has not been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 21 ayes and 1 no.
The ayes have it. Motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to notice, I now call up HR 1736, the Generative AI Terrorism Risk Assessment Act. The bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. Clerk shall designate the bill.
HR 1736.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with and it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I now recognize Mr. Pfluger for the purpose of offering an amendment in the nature of the substitute. The clerk will report the amendment in the nature of substitute.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Without objection, the reading is dispensed with and the amendment is in nature substitute shall be considered base text for the purpose of further amendment. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to speak in favor of this, the Generative AI Terrorism Risk Assessment Act. Earlier this year, the Subcommittee on Counterterrorism and Intelligence held a hearing to examine how foreign terrorist organizations use generative AI or Gen AI to recruit and radicalize lone wolf actors on the internet. And the subcommittee found that FTOs use Gen AI for online radicalization by producing highly convincing propaganda videos to fabricate events and manipulate the perception of potential recruits. Known terrorist organizations like ISIS or Al-Qaeda and others have gone so far as to have AI workshops to train members on its use. This legislation would require DHS to conduct annual assessments on the terrorism threats posed to the United States by terrorist organizations utilizing or attempting to utilize generative artificial intelligence applications. And this bill is crucial right now to respond to the emerging threats of tomorrow. The use of Gen AI is on the rise with new models coming online more and more frequently. This amendment to the nature of a substitute will not only provide flexibility for DHS to focus on the use of Gen AI, including when it's incorporated into systems outside of applications like Cmte, but also grants the department a full year after enactment to develop and coordinate the report with ODNI, allowing for the necessary resources and staff sharing to fulfill the bill's requirements. I thank my colleagues for advancing this legislation, and I urge both Republicans and Democrats to support it. Thank you, and yield back.
Does anyone wish to speak on the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Are there any amendments to the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Hearing none, the question is on agreeing to the amendment in the nature of the substitute offered by Mr. Pfluger. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it and the amendment in the nature of the substitute is agreed to. The request now occurs on reporting the bill, HR 1736, as amended to House with favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it and the motion is agreed to. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger votes aye. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Ranking Member Thompson. Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell, Mr. Correa, Mr. Tanadar. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner, Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver. Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green.
How's the chair recorded?
Chair has not yet been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 21 ayes and 0 nays.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. To notice, I now call up HR 2212, the DHS Intelligence Rotational Assignment Program and Law Enforcement Support Act. The bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. The clerk shall designate the bill.
HR 2212.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with and it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I now recognize Mr. McKenzie for the purpose of offering an amendment in the nature of the substitute. The clerk will report the amendment in the nature of the substitute.
An amendment in the nature of a
Without
substitute.
objection, the reading is dispensed with, and the amendment in the nature of the substitute shall be considered base text for the purpose of further amendment. Gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 5 minutes on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to strike the last word. I rise in support of the ANS to HR 2212, the DHS Intelligence Rotational Assignment Program and Law Enforcement Support Act. This legislation requires analysts in the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Intelligence and Analysis, INA, to participate in the Intelligence Community Civilian Joint Duty Program administered by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The Intelligence Community Civilian Joint Duty Program, also called the Rotational Assignment Program, allows intelligence professionals to serve temporary rotations in other intelligence agencies, strengthening interagency understanding, integration, and cooperation. Currently, INA analysts are not eligible to participate in this program. My bill would address this issue to promote greater workforce development in the IC and ensure comprehensive intelligence sharing across our agencies, including Homeland Security. At the time of growing threats to our nation, it's critical that Homeland Security intelligence professionals have access to the resources and experience needed to counter terrorism and other Homeland Security challenges. I urge my colleagues, both Republican and Democrat, to support this legislation. Thank you, and with that, I yield back.
Does anyone wish to speak on the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Are there any amendments to the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Hearing none, the question is on agreeing to the amendment in the nature of the substitute offered by Mr. McKenzie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment in the nature of the substitute is agreed to. Question now occurs on reporting the bill HR 2212 as amended to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger votes aye. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Ranking Member Thompson. Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa. Mr. Tanadar. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner. Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver.
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green,
Has the chair recorded?
chair has not yet been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 22 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to notice, I now call H.R. 2259, the National Strategy for School Security Act of 2025. This bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. Clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 2259.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I now recognize Mr. Gonzalez for the purpose of offering an amendment in the nature of the substitute. The clerk will report the amendment in the nature of the substitute.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Without
to
objection, the
HR
reading is dispensed with. An amendment in the nature of the substitute shall be considered base text for the purpose of further amendment. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased that the committee has convened today to mark up H.R. 2259, the National Strategy for School Security Act. 3 years ago, the devastating school shooting took place at Robb Elementary in Uvalde in my district, resulting in 19 students killed and 2 teachers with many injuries. Regrettably, we continue to see similar tragedies take place across the country, including the high school in Georgia, including most recently the Catholic school in Minneapolis, taking the lives of 2 children and injuring 17 others. The consensus across federal reports and findings is the lack of coordination at the federal level is a major shortcoming in our school security posture. It's simple. The U.S. government has no strategy. We cannot defeat evil if we do not have a strategy. My bill would implement those findings by requiring better federal coordination by establishing a national strategy to keep elementary and secondary schools, especially our schools in rural and underserved areas, secure and prepared from school shootings and other acts of terrorism. From this, our school districts, both large and small, can develop and improve their own emergency plans to keep our kids safe. We must work to implement policies that will better protect our children and provide proper framework that can make a real difference. Let's not wait for another school shooting to happen to make this act. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support this bipartisan bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone wish to speak on the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Are there any amendments to the amendment in the nature of the substitute? Hearing none, the question is on agreeing to the amendment in the nature of a substitute offered by Mr. Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment in the nature of the substitute is agreed to. Question now occurs on reporting the bill H.R. 2259 as amendment to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Aye. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Aye. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Aye. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger votes aye. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Ranking Member Thompson. Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa. Mr. Tanadar. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner. Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver.
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green.
How's the chair recorded?
Chairman has not been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 22 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to notice, I now call upon HR 2261, Strengthening Oversight of DHS Intelligence Act. The bill was circulated in advance and printed copies are available. The clerk shall designate the bill.
HR 2261.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. Gentleman from Puerto Rico, Mr. Hernandez, is recognized for 5 minutes on his measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations on your new role. I am pleased that today the committee is considering my bill, H.R. 2261, the Strengthening Oversight of DHS Intelligence Act, which was reported favorably out of the Counterterrorism and Intelligence Subcommittee in March. DHS's Office of Intelligence and Analysis, or INA, has a unique and critical mission. It is the only member of the intelligence community charged with delivering Homeland Security information and intelligence to state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement, those on the front lines working to keep Americans safe. INA and the entire DHS intelligence enterprise was established in the wake of September 11 to ensure that we never again fail to connect the dots between law enforcement information and intelligence, and ultimately fail to prevent attacks on the homeland. My bill, the Strengthening Oversight of DHS Intelligence Act, ensures that the information and intelligence distributed by DHS to protect our communities does not infringe upon Americans' constitutional rights. My bill requires that all DHS intelligence products be reviewed by the DHS Chief Privacy Officer and the DHS Officer for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. It also requires the Privacy and Civil Rights and Civil Liberties officers to train senior DHS intelligence personnel on privacy rights, civil rights, and civil liberties protections. While INA has some processes in place to verify compliance with internal guidelines for protecting privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties, my bill will ensure that all DHS intelligence information is shared, retained, and disseminated in a manner consistent with the protection of Americans' rights. I thank my colleagues for their support on this measure, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone wish to speak on the bill? Gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Evans, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member. Move to strike last word. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Hernandez for bringing the bill. Glad to join you on this piece of legislation. You all know my background, cop for 10 years, military for 12 years, a lot of that time as the intelligence practitioner for my unit. And so I know we can do two things at once. We can secure the country. We can crush the cartels, the organized crime that's making life so dangerous for everyday Americans. And we can do that while making sure that we are respecting the constitutional and civil liberties of our citizens. It's something that I did every day as a police officer working on the streets. And so again, just wanted to thank Mr. Hernandez for bringing the bill, and glad to work with you and join you on this measure. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone wish to speak on the bill? Are there any amendments to the bill? Hearing none, the question is reporting the bill favorably to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall. Aye. Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Ranking Member Thompson. Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa. Mr. Tanadar. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner. Mr. Magaziner votes aye. Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver.
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green.
How's the chair recorded?
The chair has not yet been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 22 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. All right, last bill. Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 5062, the Pipeline Security Act. The bill was circulated in advance, and the printed copies are available. Clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 50.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and it is considered read and open to amendment at any time. Gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Johnson, is recognized for 5 minutes on her measure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The pipeline network that distributes oil and natural gas and other hazardous liquids throughout the United States spans over 2.7 million miles, generates over $57 billion in yearly revenue, and directly supports hundreds of thousands of American jobs. These networks are a critical part of our energy supply chain, and we must increase security and resilience in our pipeline network against threats near and far. We saw firsthand how fragile the system is with the 2021 Colonial Pipeline cyber attack, which caused widespread fuel shortages, long gas lines, and price spikes for millions of Americans along the East Coast. Thankfully, we avoided a more serious crisis, but clearly the cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline revealed the fragility of our system and served as a wake-up call to strengthen our defenses against increasingly sophisticated threats. If we fail to protect these critical pipelines from cyber attacks, terrorist attacks, and other threats, we don't just risk our national security, we risk supply chain disruptions that will create a ripple effect throughout our communities. Pipelines operating in the great state of Texas are vital to Texas's economy, generating billions of dollars in tax revenue and creating over 150,000 jobs directly while supporting over 1 million jobs that indirectly touch pipelines. That's why last week I reintroduced the Pipeline Security Act. For over 2 decades, TSA has been the primary federal agency with oversight of pipeline security. Yet TSA's Pipeline Security Office has never been codified into law, nor have its pipeline security responsibilities been explicitly outlined in statute. The 2021 Colonial Pipeline cyber attack renewed the need for improvement in TSA's statutory authority. By providing TSA's Pipeline Security Office with the permanence its mission demands, my legislation empowers TSA to strengthen its pipeline security operations. The office will be required to issue guidelines for pipeline security, conduct risk assessments of our nation's pipelines, and regularly inspect at-risk facilities. My bill also ensures that TSA has the staff and expertise it needs by requiring the agency to develop a personal strategy and hire employees with both pipeline and cybersecurity expertise. Finally, my bill instructs TSA to increase its security-related engagement with pipeline stakeholders and require the Government Accountability Office to undertake a review of TSA's efforts. Importantly, my bill does not require any new pipeline security regulations or directives. Our nation has seen a significant increase in cyber attacks on our critical infrastructure. It is more important than ever that Congress provide support for TSA's pipeline security mission. And I want to thank Representative Jimenez and Garcia for their co-sponsorship of this bill, and thrilled that we could work in such a bipartisan way. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back my time.
Gentlelady yields back. Does anyone wish to speak on the bill? Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Ms. Johnson for introducing this bill. I strongly urge my colleagues to support this bill, H.R. 5062, the Pipeline Security Act, being considered today. This bill would codify TSA's statutory authorities to secure and protect pipelines against cybersecurity threats, acts of terrorism, and other security threats. In May 2021, the Colonial Pipeline, which supplies approximately 45% of all refined oil on the East Coast, was forced offline following a ransomware attack. The incident led to days of fuel shortages across multiple states and underscored the vulnerability of the nation's pipelines infrastructure to cyber threats. This bill directs TSA to develop security directives and guidance, conduct risk assessments, share intelligence with pipeline owners and operators, and conduct inspections and ensure compliance. I urge all my colleagues to support this bill, and thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the bill? Gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Carter is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In Louisiana, we know better than most how critical pipelines are to our economy. Our state is home to one of the most robust pipeline networks in the country, and many of those pipelines run close to population centers. That makes them not only vital arteries of energy delivery, but also potential targets that, if disrupted, can put our communities, jobs, and families at risk. The 2021 Colonial Pipeline cyber attack demonstrated how a single incident can have a ripple effect across the entire country, disrupting supply, spiking prices, and instilling fear. Imagine the consequence of such an attack were to hit a major line in Louisiana. Our state's refineries, our petrochemical industries, and the families who live and work alongside this infrastructure would feel the impact immediately. That's why this bill, the Pipeline Security Act, is so important. This bill clarifies TSA's authority to over pipeline security, making sure that there's no doubt about who's responsible for protecting the infrastructure from cyber attacks, terrorist attacks, and other threats. TSA has already issued necessary directives since Colonial, but we need to put this authority into law to provide consistency, stability, and accountability going forward. Equally as important, this measure directs TSA to develop a workforce strategy with a specific focus on cybersecurity expertise. Louisiana's pipelines are increasingly connected to sophisticated digital systems. That connectivity makes them more efficient, but it also makes them more vulnerable. We need cybersecurity experts in the federal government who understand these risks and can work with industry to mitigate them. For Louisiana, where energy infrastructure and commodities live side by side, and communities live side by side, rather, the stakes are simply too high to delay. Passing this bill means protecting our pipelines, our economy, and our people. One of the most important commodities our country can ever have, our communities. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else wish to speak on the bill? Are there any amendments to the bill? Hearing none, the question is on reporting the bill favorably to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. And neither chair, the ayes have it. Motion is agreed to. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. McCall.
Aye.
Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Guest. Aye. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Jimenez. Aye. Mr. Jimenez votes aye. Mr. Pfluger. Ms. Green. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez votes aye. Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Luttrell votes aye. Mr. Strong. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Ogles. Aye. Mr. Ogles votes aye. Mrs. Biggs. Mrs. Biggs votes aye. Mr. Evans. Aye. Mr. Evans votes aye. Mr. McKenzie. Aye. Mr. McKenzie votes aye. Mr. Knott. Ranking Member Thompson. Aye. Ranking Member Thompson votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa. Mr. Tanadar. Aye. Mr. Tanadar votes aye. Mr. Magaziner. Mr. Magaziner votes aye. Mr. Goldman. Aye. Mr. Goldman votes aye. Mrs. Ramirez. Mrs. Ramirez votes aye. Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy votes aye. Mrs. McIver.
Aye.
Mrs. McIver votes aye. Ms. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Hernandez.
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez votes aye. Ms. Poe. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter votes aye. Mr. Green.
How's the chair recorded?
Chair has not yet been recorded.
I vote aye.
Chairman Garbarino votes aye.
Are there other members who wish to have their votes recorded? Clerk will report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, on that vote, there were 22 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. All right, without objection, staff is authorized to make any required technical or conforming changes to reflect the actions of the committee. Without objection, the measures amended during today's markup will be reported to the House in form of one amendment in nature of substitute for each bill. This concludes consideration of the bills noticed by the committee for today.
Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Clause 2L of Rule 11, I request that members have 2 calendar days to file with the clerk of the committee supplemental, additional, or minority views on the measures ordered reported by the committee today.
So ordered. There being no further business, without objection, the committee stands adjourned.